Hi, sweeties. How are you doing? Welcome to Naya Sim, and thank you all so much for all the love and support. Hope you all are doing great. So today we'll be talking something very important, and I want you all to understand that Black people have really fought for so many people, and the reality is that the way Black people have other people's interest at heart is not the way other people have our interest at heart. They really do not care. The fact that Nikki Haley actually came out years ago, I think in 2010, to say that the Confederate flag is not racist is just something that I am trying to balance up. And then knowing also the fact that she came up sometime to say that the Civil War was not about the slavery and all that. Let me tell us this. There are some of them that are actually out here and, you think that they have the interest of, number one is that Nikki Haley does not have the interest of Black people at heart. That one is something that I saw far away. It's not something new. And I am sure that most of you know that she does not have the interest of heart. She is working with the MAGA. And the fact that they wake up today to say something and the next day they change their mind, they switch up to something else is something that I really found very interesting and dumb, because they feel like they are dealing with dumb people. But no, if there was no racism, or if the Confederate flag is not why is it that you change your name from Nikki Maraja to Nikki Haley? You know what? Let's get into this video.
Remember when Nikki Haley ran for governor of South Carolina and she said this?
Now, a new CNN K-file investigation into Nikki Haley, the South Carolina Republican, garnered national attention. You probably remember back in 2015 when she called to remove the Confederate flag from the State House grounds after a white nationalist killed 9 people at a Black church in Charleston. But in 2010, Haley, who was running for governor at the time, said the Confederate flag was not racist.
For those groups that come in and say they had issues with the Confederate flag, I will work to talk to them about it. I will work to talk to them about the heritage and how this is not something that is racist. This is something that is a tradition that people feel proud of.
That interview you see there was by a local activist group called the Pe0ple Patriots. At one point, candidate Haley said this about South Carolina's Confederate Heritage Month.
The same as you have Black History Month and you have Confederate History Month and all of those, as long as it's done where it is in a positive way and not in a negative way, and it doesn't go to harm anyone, and it goes back to where it focuses on the traditions of the people that are wanting to celebrate it, then I think it's fine.
Let's get some more insights on this reporting from the leader of CNN's K-File team, Andrew Kaczynski. Andrew, what can you tell us about this interview and the group, the Pe0ple Patriots, behind it?
So this interview took place in 2010 when Haley was first running for governor. Now this group, which is now defunct, the Pe0ple Patriots, was formed, according to them, to fight attacks against Southern culture. It appears to have just been a rather small group that was interviewing Haley, just a few people. And CNN was able to learn that one of those interviewers was a board member, an active member of the white nationalist group, the Council of Conservative Citizens. Now people might remember, but just 5 years later, that same group was reportedly who inspired Dylann Roof to do that shooting at a historically Black church in Charleston. And as we remember, that shooting eventually spurred Haley to call for taking down the Confederate flag from the State House grounds. Now, in this interview, we saw Haley offer sympathetic answers on the state's Confederate history. Let's just take a listen to this clip here of what she said about the causes of the Civil War.
You have different sides, and I think that you see passions on different sides, and I don't think anyone does anything out of hate. I think what they do is they do things out of tradition and out of beliefs of what they believe is right. It was tradition versus change is the way I see it.
John?
Tradition versus change is the way I see it. A lot of people would see it differently than that. So she's a presidential candidate. Now you reached out to see if they would respond. What'd they say?
So we reached out to her campaign. We asked, did she know that one of the people interviewing her in this small group was a white nationalist? We didn't hear back on that. We didn't hear back on, any of the clips that we've played here. They did send us a statement saying, citing basically what she did with the Confederate flag, saying Nikki Haley's groundbreaking leadership on removing the Confederate flag from the South Carolina Capitol grounds is well known.
Now, I don't know if y'all knew, but I didn't know that the person doing the interview was part of this patriot group. I knew it was a white supremacist group, but I didn't know the name of the group, and I didn't know that one of the members of the group was tied to Dylann Roof and convinced Dylann Roof to do what he did at that church. We do know after the fact that Nikki Haley took down that Confederate flag, and now we know why. After all of that time of people trying to convince her to take the flag down, that she all of a sudden decided to take the flag down. Okay, but do you remember when Nikki Haley said this?
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Ambassador.
Thank you.
Please, what was the cause of the United States Civil War?
Well, don't come with an easy question or anything. I mean, I think the cause of the Civil War was basically how government was going to run, the freedoms and what people could and couldn't do. What do you think the cause of the Civil War was? I'm sorry?
I'm not running for president. I want to see yours a good thing on the cause of the Civil War.
I mean, I think it always comes down to the role of government and what the rights of the people are. And I will always stand by the fact that I think government was intended to secure the rights and freedoms of the people. It was never meant to be all things to all people. Government doesn't need to tell you how to live your life. They don't need to tell you what you can and can't do. They don't need to be a part of your life. They need to make sure that you have freedom. We need to have capitalism. We need to have economic freedom. We need to make sure that we do all things so that individuals have the liberties so that they can have freedom of speech, freedom of religion, freedom to do or be anything they want to be without government getting in the way.
Thank you. In the year 2023, it's astonishing to me that you answer that question without mentioning the word slavery.
What do you want me to say about slavery?
No, you answered my question. Thank you.
Next question.
Now, Nikki Haley was dragged for days afterwards. I would venture into saying that she was dragged for weeks. I think she's still being dragged in regards to her response to what was the Civil War about. Of course, she came out the next day and tried to clean it up and said, of course, the Civil War was about slavery. But then she further gaslights, saying that she was speaking beyond slavery. I just want you all to understand that Nikki Haley is not trying to win over the vote of all people. She's trying to win over the vote of MAGA nuts, which is why she answers these questions the way that she does. It is the reason why you hear her saying that America is not a racist country. It is why she does not want to speak negatively about the Confederate flag. We all know the Confederate flag is a symbol of hatred and racism. We all know that it's tied to the Civil War. We all know that. But she doesn't want to say anything that would offend the MAGA nuts. It is the reason why she couldn't say the Civil War was about slavery, because no matter how hard the MAGA nuts try to rewrite history, we all know the truth. It has been written and documented. Nikki Haley was a little busy this past weekend. I believe she did a morning show, a morning news show. I'm not sure if it was on Saturday or if it was on Sunday or if it was even this past weekend. But she did do a town hall with Fox News last night. First, let's watch the small segment that she did on one of the morning news shows.
But this goes back to the fact that we need to remind the American people that Vladimir Putin is not our friend. Vladimir Putin is not cool. This is not someone we want to associate with. This is not someone that we want to be friends with. This is not someone that we can trust. And so when you hear Donald Trump say in South Carolina a week ago that he would encourage Putin to invade our allies if they weren't pulling their weight, that's bone-chilling. Because all he did in that one moment was empower Putin. And all he did in that moment was he sided with a guy that kills his political opponents. He sided with a thug that arrests American journalists and holds them hostage. And he sided with a guy who wanted to make a point to the Russian people, don't challenge me in the next election or this will happen to you too. We have to start waking up to what this means, and that's why the importance of making sure that Ukraine wins is clear, because we have to prevent further war. And right now, Putin is feeling more emboldened than he ever has.
Why do you think Trump hasn't said anything about Navalny yet? Nothing.
It's actually pretty amazing that he, not only after making those comments that he would encourage Putin to invade NATO, but the fact that he won't acknowledge anything with Navalny. Either he sides with Putin and thinks it's cool that Putin killed one of his political opponents, or he just doesn't think it's that big of a deal. Either one of those is concerning. Either one of those is a problem.
Now, is Nikki Haley wrong in anything that she said in that little clip? No, I agree with everything that Nikki Haley had to say in that little clip. But this is the reason why we can't take Nikki Haley seriously. Watch this.
If you were elected president, would you pardon Donald Trump if he was convicted of a crime in federal court?
Well, thank you for that question. You know, if you're talking about pardoning Trump, it's not a matter of innocence or guilt at that point, because that means he would have already been found guilty. I believe in the best interest of bringing the country together, I would pardon Donald Trump, because I think it's important for the country to move on. We've got to leave the negativity and the baggage behind. I don't want this country divided any further. I don't think it's in the best interest for America to have an 80-year-old president sitting in jail and having everybody upset about it. I think this would be the time that we would need to move forward and get this out of the way.
I don't know about you, but I'm clear that Nikki Haley is not working to obtain my vote. Nikki Haley is working to obtain the vote of MAGA nuts and Republicans only, because of the responses that she gives to some of these questions. She gives these responses as if the black community is not going to take offense to what she is saying. When you stand up and you say to me, a black woman, that America is not a racist country, when you stand up and say to me that the Confederate flag and the Civil War was about tradition and government, when I know differently, when you list all of the issues with Donald Trump, but yet turn around and say to me, a black woman who he has repeatedly offended, that you would pardon him, yeah, you're not working to get my vote. You're working for MAGA nuts and Republicans, and you really have no interest in trying to bring this country together. Y'all let me know your thoughts. Put it down in the comments.
So this is all I got from this. And right from the onset, we should already know about Nikki Haley, Nikki Maratha. Why did she, let me start with, why did she change her name from Nikki Maratha to Nikki Haley? Because she was looking for something that was sweet, like, you know, that would be pleasant, that will make her look foreign, or that will make her belong, you know, because if not, she will still be answering Nikki Maratha, right? Number one is that all these people really do not care about black people, because from the onset, 2010, right, she was saying that there is nothing wrong with Confederate flag and all that. You all should already know that she doesn't have anything. She doesn't have, I didn't know how to say, but black people or black interest is not part of her agenda and all that. And if peradventure she changes or she decided to be on black people's side, she's probably doing it for clout, chasing clout, or probably doing it to get votes. But I want black people already to know, and I am sure you all know, I'm probably saying this for saying sake, but I am sure you all already know how they operate and the rest of it. Nikki Haley does not have black people's interest, because when you see people have your interest, being a person of color, and being the fact that like, you know, back then during the civil rights, black people already fought hand in hand with them. Like, you know, it's more like, I know black people are facing a lot of systemic racism and all that, which there are also, but it is not as much as there are also people of color. They are supposed to understand more what is going on in black community and the fights or the fight black people have actually put up, not just for only black people, for everybody to be where they are. You know, come to think of it, from the history that I have been reading and all that, it is more like black people like liberated almost everybody. I don't know if liberation is the right word to use, but yes, starting from the beginning to the end, you find out that their connection with black people were the ones probably marching with them, doing sort of things, and also being there for almost every one of them. And some of them, the rights that they got to this very moment is because black people actually came out to fight for them. So black people have been out there for almost everybody. But the truth is that you rarely see people come out to stand for black people. Rather, if they will see where black people are going to benefit from, they will cover it up and make sure they do not benefit from that, right? So Nikki Haley or Nikki Maratha has not been for black people, because for her to even open up her mouth to say that, Civil War was not because of slavery and all that. She knew all this, but she is not for black people, and she does not want to offend the MAGA. And so what she is doing is, or she's trying as much as she can Like, she has already bought into the white supremacy thing. So she's trying as much as she can to how do I say that? To be on their side. So for everything she is doing or everything she's working for, she is not working, or black people are not even in her own interest and all that, or she's not for the interest of black people. So anybody that is waking up or thinking that Nikki Haley, maybe peradventure, will change and all that, she is not going to change. She will be worse, because like as day goes on, you see her like bringing out her true self and all that, maybe through news or through interviews. If she did not go for that conference and all that, you all probably wouldn't have known what she has been nurturing in her mind and all that. But when she went for that conference and she town hall this thing, and she messed up, and then she's been looking for a way to cover up all her her atrocity to this very moment. Not just like people are still dragging her up and down because she really messed up. The fact that everybody is like, they want black reading, but they do not want black blues and all that. I mean, it's really very sad that, I don't know how, but it's kind of really very sad that, black people really have to keep fighting for every other person, and nobody is actually out there to fight for them. And that is life for us. That's all I got to say. Let me know what you all think in the comment section. I'll see you all in my next video. Bye for now.